post-consumer stuff, when you scrape your plate up in used Dan and it goes either into the trash can, or if you leave it on your plate and it goes through the conveyor belt, it all gets ground up in a commercial-sized garbage disposal and is sent out through the sewer system.
The biggest misconception is that we already compost here at Wesleyan, and that, you know, sort of when you put your tray or like your plate on the tray return, that, you know, that material is being disposed of in a sustainable manner, which it's not currently.
From what I've been told is they don't either care enough to bring it over, they forget to bring the compost over, they don't have the resources to bring the compost over to the farm, and then also, as it is, I know that from what I've been told, most of the stuff that could be considered pre-consumer waste is actually thrown out, and like sort of somehow some of it ends up as compost, but most of it, for whatever reason, is not. My name is Cory Guilmette. I'm the chair of the composting committee. I guess I sort of restarted the composting committee in September. I know Melody and I both had interest in it, and I guess I brought it up first at the EON meeting. We were originally both running it, and it just sort of, I guess, ended up, you know, I sort of took on a little bit more than she did, and we sort of decided she took more of an industrial focus, whereas mine was more on the student system. There's this impression created that Wesleyan's a really green school. I think it's actually important that that sort of impression be shattered.
Composting to Wesleyan started about 5 years ago. We had an EON group at that point that was very interested in getting composting to campus.
It was similar in a lot of aspects to ours. They distributed buckets, the same exact buckets we distributed to students on campus.
And that worked for a little while, but it didn't work very well because people were confused as how they worked. The squirrels kind of took over. They got knocked over and the lids were missing, and so that program kind of lost steam a little bit.
I found that the pickup of the scraps, you know, the regularity of that, the consistency of that was kind of lacking as far as like who was going to pick it up, what day, what time, and it just became a problem because it was drawing pests like into the kitchen. Fruit flies, as you know, like love compost, and black flies as well. For me, once the fruit flies get into the kitchen, they're incredibly difficult to get rid of.
At some point in the past, I think within the last 5 years, maybe around 5 years ago, Wesleyan got 2 earth tubs for free from the state.
We load the earth tub up, and I load it up with leaves, and I personally spin it 3 or 4 times a week, and we get all the compost that comes out of that goes right into Long Lane Farm, and the kids are able to turn that right into the soil and use it as a soil amendment for the farm. After the earth tubs came the green machines, which we have 11 of them on campus, I believe, right now.
We use compost tumblers, so they sit on 2 metal legs. And then they just spin. So you spin, not on their own, but you spin them just to make sure that the brown matter and the food matter is intermixed. Beyond that, there's really no fancy technology in it. It's just a spinning plastic container.
The nice thing about them is it starts that microbial breakdown begins in there. The heat starts to generate a little bit, and the material starts to break down a little bit, so that when I get it, it's already started. That whole process is started. I can just dump them in the earth tubs, and it naturally just pulls itself right in. The nice thing about this year's student group, composting group, is they're extremely active. They have about a dozen people who actively like to go out and work the green machine.
Picking up the green machines, how has that been? You know, could you describe those experiences?
I haven't done it either.
What?
I haven't done it either.
Oh, you haven't done it either? Oh.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I could have sworn that that you and like Lewis and everybody else had done it.
Yep.
Monitoring. We need, Emma, you've missed Exley the past 2 weeks.
I keep forgetting to put it in.
You keep forgetting to put it in, but you haven't. Okay.
I've been checking them, and it's okay.
Okay, good.
It's under control.
And then we need someone to do farmhouse.
I'm doing farmhouse. I just
Alright.
haven't put it's in my notebook.
Okay. So how's that looking?
It's fine.
Really? It's funny because we've never actually maintained it.
I think that we are doing a lot of great initiatives on campus that we're just not publicizing.
And there's a nice article in the Argus where student X, Y, and Z takes credit for post-consumer composting on Wesleyan campus, which I read about quite often, which it doesn't bother me, but you know, I don't think it's hitting the point home to where it should be going, and that's to the society out there, not just the 10 students on the composting committee.
As far as the current composting initiative, I haven't really heard much about it.
So I think it's a huge disconnect between student groups and physical plant, Bon Appetit, but especially between our PR department, just in terms of publicizing what we're doing on campus.
Do you think there is good communication between students and administration, or is there a disconnect of some sort?
I think the students are always going to feel there's a disconnect. I've worked on quite a few campuses for Bon Appetit. I think the administration here is very down to earth. I think they're very, to be quite honest, I think they're very, very nice people. And they're very easy to work with, and they're very professional, and they're very caring. That's my experience with them. And like I said, I've been on quite a few campuses, and I've seen the total opposite. I think the students at Wesleyan here get a great deal of what they, not say what they want, but what they expect they should get. And I think the administration has an ear to the students. I think they really do listen.
I think the most important thing for our committee is to see the work that we're doing institutionalized by either physical plant or with use-in by, Bon Appetit and things like that. So, but the problem with that is that both physical plant and Bon Appetit are unionized, so their workers have strict contracts of what is in their job description and what they're expected to do on a day-to-day basis. So a lot of the problem is that there's nothing specific in anyone's job description that says, oh, and you will take care of the composting. So then it sort of is not anyone's responsibility.
If post-consumer waste were to be institutionalized in Bon Appetit, the challenges of figuring out who would pick it up and when, because you can't have it just sitting there kind of rotting in the kitchen.
Right. Then I'll have a department with the Department of Health from Middletown also. Basically, like I said, we'll be storing trash. It's not an ideal situation. The ideal situation would be that we picked up on a daily basis. Again, now there's a cost factor. Who's going to do that? Dainty's not going to do it for free. They're in business to make money.
We haven't promoted, to be honest, we haven't promoted composting, but that's because the market is not dictating it. But I think that down the line, when it becomes more available and more affordable, where people would be willing to pay the amount, then yeah, we definitely promote it. We definitely, because we're in the service business, like I said before, and whatever the customers want, we do, as long as we can make a little money at doing it. Composting, through a student committee, is actually good, because as long as everyone buys into it. That's the tough thing on a university campus, is having all the students and the faculty buy into composting. If everyone does that, it'll be a big success. And then on top of that, you just have to have the university buy in for the cost of it.
I think it could be institutionalized in the future. It's just showing the administration and faculty and people that normally deal with the waste in the first place that it can work on a grander scale, to trust us, kids, people who haven't been around as long as they have and haven't been dealing with the process as long as they have. It's trust. We don't really have their trust yet, I don't think, in my opinion.
It's very hard to say, okay, we're going to do this, and bang, it's going to happen the next day. Students don't understand, and I'm not knocking anybody, but there is a process to create change. Yeah, it's very, very difficult.